Some days on the bench stay with me forever, and this was one of them. Subscribe. I want to tell you about a mother, a few bags of groceries, and a moment that tested everything I believe about justice. Here in Providence, I've seen thousands of cases, but this one reached straight into my heart, hit like. Let me say this right at the start. The law matters. Without it, good people suffer first. But mercy matters too. My father, God rest his soul, taught me that justice without compassion can turn cold very fast. Say, was I too soft? I want you to walk with me through this case and decide for yourself. Subscribe. That morning, the courtroom felt different before anyone even spoke. The air was heavy. The clerk was quiet. Even the usual shuffling of papers sounded louder than normal. I had a feeling in my chest I couldn't explain. Wait till you hear what happened next. But first, subscribe. Some cases arrive in a file. Others arrive in your spirit. Please share this if you care about second chances. Then they called her name. She stood up slowly. She looked tired in a way sleep cannot fix. Her coat was thin. One sleeve was frayed. Her hands were trembling, but she was trying hard to hide it. I noticed that right away. If this story means something to you, please subscribe. A judge sees fear every day, but this fear was mixed with shame. Hit like if you believe dignity matters. She was a young mother, maybe early 30s. Her hair was pulled back in a rushed knot. Her eyes were red from crying. She kept glancing toward the door as if she wanted to run, but didn't. I've seen that look before. Join me. Subscribe for more stories from the bench. It's the look of someone who feels life has cornered them. Say, have you ever seen pain like that? The charge was shoplifting. The report said she took bread, peanut butter, milk, apples, a small box of cereal, and 2 packs of pasta. No jewelry, no electronics, no luxury goods, just food. Food for children. Share this. In my 40 years on the bench, details matter. What a person takes can tell you a lot. Hit like. The police officer stood a few feet away, straight-backed and serious. He had done his job. I respected that. The store manager was there too, upset and firm. He wanted consequences. He said theft was getting worse. He wasn't wrong. Small businesses feel every loss. Say, where should mercy begin? But the moment I looked back at that mother, I felt my heart pulling me another way. Subscribe. I asked her, "Ma'am, do you understand the charge against you?" She nodded first, then whispered, "Yes, Your Honor." Her voice was thin, almost gone. I asked if she had anything she wanted to say. At first she shook her head, then the tears came. Subscribe. Sometimes the truth does not walk into court. Sometimes it collapses there. Hit like if you've seen courage in tears. She said, "I know it was wrong. I know it. I'm not saying it wasn't." Then she covered her face and started crying harder. The room went still. Even the officer shifted his weight and looked down. I've seen thousands of cases, but silence like that means something. Please subscribe. Pain can change the temperature of a room. Please share. I asked her to take her time. Then I said, "Tell me what happened." She took a breath that sounded like it hurt. She said her hours had been cut for weeks. Rent was late. The electric bill was due. Her youngest son had asked for breakfast and she had nothing left. Say, what would you do? Subscribe. I could hear my own mother's voice in my memory. Hit like. She told me she went into the store with $11. She thought she could stretch it, but prices were higher than she expected. She put things back, then put them back again. Her oldest daughter was waiting at home with the little ones. She said she panicked. Share this. Desperation does not excuse theft, but it does explain it. Please subscribe if you believe context matters. The officer spoke next. He said she cooperated once stopped. She did not fight. She did not run. She cried right there by the exit. He said the children were in the car and one of them asked him, "Is Mommy coming back?" I felt my hands tighten on the bench. Say, did that question hit you too? Subscribe. Some words can break your heart in public. Now here's the thing that shook me. The officer had seen many shoplifting cases. Usually, he said, people deny everything. They blame the cashier, they blame the camera, they blame the weather. But this mother did not deny it. She just kept saying, "My kids were hungry. Please subscribe." That sentence stayed with me long after court ended. Hit like if honesty still matters. When I looked at the file, I saw no long criminal record, one old unpaid parking ticket. That was it. No pattern, no scam, no scheme, no gang of thieves cleaning out shelves. Just one mother, one bad choice, and a refrigerator that sounded emptier than any courtroom speech. Please share this if you care about fairness. Say, should a first mistake define a life? Subscribe. But let me be honest with you. Part of me was angry too, not at her alone, at the whole picture. I grew up in this neighborhood. My father worked 2 jobs. My mother stretched every dollar till it begged for mercy. I've seen good people struggle. Wait till you hear how that shaped my ruling, but first, subscribe. Hardship is real, but so is responsibility. Hit like. I asked, why didn't you ask for help? She looked up, ashamed, and said, I already did. She had called her sister, a church pantry, and an old friend. Nobody could help that day. Then she said something very quiet. She said, I was too embarrassed to knock on more doors. If this moves you, please subscribe. Pride and poverty can trap a person together. Share this. That answer took me back many years. My father, God rest his soul, used to say, Frank, people don't always break the law because they're bad. Sometimes they're tired, scared, and out of choices. He also said, character is how you treat those who can't help you. Say, do you believe that? Subscribe. Those words echoed in my mind as I studied her face, hit like right now. And still, duty sat on my shoulders like a stone. A judge cannot simply wave away every sad story. If I did that, I would fail the public. Stores would close. Honest families would pay more. Workers would lose jobs. That matters. Share this. Mercy without boundaries is not mercy. It becomes unfairness in another direction. Please subscribe if you understand that balance. 2 days earlier, I had another woman in court named Maria. I want to tell you about her because it matters. She had a broken taillight and overdue registration. She came in wearing a neat blouse, holding every paper in order, and speaking with respect from the first second. Subscribe. She was nervous, but she stood tall. Say, does respect change everything? Hit like if you think it should. Maria said, Your Honor, I made mistakes, but I'm trying. That sentence stayed with me too. She worked nights cleaning offices. She cared for her father in the day. She had almost no money, but she had humility. She never blamed anyone, not once. Please subscribe. She asked for time, not pity. There is a difference. Please share. I helped Maria because she met the court with honesty and respect. I reduced the fines, gave her a plan, and wished her well. Why? Because she showed me she was carrying her burden with dignity. She wanted a hand, not an escape hatch. Say, can you hear that difference? Subscribe. I remember saying, good luck to you, and meaning it deeply. Hit like right now. So why was this case heavier? Because this mother carried the same struggle, but something else too. She carried terror for her children. That can make a human being do desperate things. I could see she wasn't entitled, she wasn't arrogant, she was broken. That distinction matters. Share this. Desperation can look rough, but it is not the same as contempt. Please subscribe. People online often want judges to be simple, guilty or innocent, soft or tough, hero or villain. Life is not that neat. In my 40 years on the bench, I've learned that the hardest part is not reading the law. It's reading the soul in front of you. Say, do you agree? Subscribe. The file tells one truth. The person tells another. Hit that like button now. I asked her whether her children knew what happened. She started crying again. She said, my oldest knows too much already. That line cut me. Children should know homework, scraped knees, birthday songs, and bedtime prayers. They should not know eviction fear and hunger math. If this touches your heart, please subscribe. Childhood is not supposed to be a burden. Please share this with someone who cares. Then I asked the officer one more question. I said, Officer, were the children clean? Were they cared for? He answered right away, Yes, Your Honor, very much so. He said the car was old but tidy. He said the kids were polite. He said they looked scared, not neglected. Subscribe. That answer mattered more than some people realize. Say, do you see why? Hit like. Because I've seen neglect. I've seen adults hide behind children. I've seen lies wrapped in tears. And I've also seen real mothers carrying the world on one weak shoulder. This woman, from everything before me, looked like the second kind. My father's voice echoed in my mind. Please subscribe if this matters to you. Money can't buy decency, he used to say. Please share. Still, I couldn't let the act itself disappear. I told her plainly, what you did was wrong. She nodded. I said it again, not to hurt her, but to mark the truth. Wrong is wrong, even when pain is involved. She nodded again, hit like. Accountability begins when truth is named. Say, should compassion still include clear limits? Subscribe. I saw the officer watching me carefully then. He was wondering where I was going. The manager folded his arms. The clerk stopped typing for a second. Courtrooms have a rhythm. When it breaks, everyone feels it. I felt the weight of that moment on my shoulders. Please subscribe. Justice is never louder than when a room goes quiet. Share this. Part of me wanted to dismiss everything right there, I admit that. Part of me wanted to say, go home and feed your children. But another part of me said, Frank, if you do that without thought, you teach the wrong lesson. I prayed for guidance right there in my heart. Subscribe. Wisdom sometimes arrives as a struggle, not an answer. Say, have you felt that? I thought about my wife that morning. She often reminds me that mercy should heal, not just excuse. That stayed with me. A good decision should help the person, protect the public, and respect the law all at once. That is not easy. Share this. My hands were almost shaking under the bench. Please subscribe if you believe hard choices matter, and I'll tell you something honest. I couldn't sleep well the night after this hearing. Even before I ruled, I knew it would follow me home. Some cases leave with the paperwork. Some stay in your shoes when you walk to your car. This was one of those. Hit like if you understand that burden. Subscribe. A robe does not make difficult choices easy. Then the moment came. I looked at her, then at the officer, then at the manager. I thought of Maria. I thought of my parents. I thought of those children in the car asking if mommy was coming back. And suddenly I had clarity. Say, do you believe judges feel that moment? Please subscribe. Sometimes the path appears only after your heart and duty wrestle long enough. Share this. I looked her in the eye and said, Ma'am, I am not going to send you deeper into a hole because you were trying in a very wrong way to feed your children. She gasped. The officer blinked. The manager leaned back. The courtroom went silent. Subscribe for more. Those are the moments people remember forever. Hit like. Then I continued. I said, but listen to me carefully. This court will not pretend the theft was acceptable. I am finding you responsible. I want that on the record. You do not get a free pass because the story is sad. Her eyes widened. She listened like every word mattered. Say, was that fair? Please subscribe if you believe truth and mercy can stand together. Please share. I told her the penalty would not be jail. It would not be crushing fines. It would be something better and harder. First, she had to write a letter to her children, not to shame herself, but to remember this day. Second, she had to complete community service at a food pantry. Subscribe for more. Sometimes service teaches more than punishment. Hit like if you agree. Third, I ordered the court to connect her with local help, real help, food assistance, housing guidance, and a program that could help with work placement. I wanted a bridge, not a lecture. I told her, you need support, and you need a line you never cross again. If this moves you, please subscribe. Justice should stop harm and start healing when possible. Share this. Then I turned to the officer. I thanked him for doing his duty with decency, because he had. He had not mocked her. He had not escalated the scene. He had brought the facts and let the court do its work. That matters to me. Say, should we praise decency more often? Subscribe for more. A badge carries power but also responsibility. Hit like right now. I turned to the manager too. I said, Sir, your frustration is justified. Your store is not a charity by force. But today this court sees a difference between predatory theft and parental desperation. He didn't smile, but he listened. I respected that. Share this. Justice must protect businesses and broken families at the same time. Please subscribe. The mother began sobbing, not the same kind of crying as before. This was the sound of someone who had been bracing for the worst and suddenly found air. She kept saying, thank you, I'm sorry. Over and over, I believed her. Please subscribe. Real remorse sounds different. It has no performance in it. Hit like. And here is the part that shocked the officer. I asked the bailiff to give her a few minutes before she left. Then, from my own pocket, I arranged for grocery money to get her through that night. Not because I wanted applause, not because it was easy, but because hungry children should not pay for adult failure, including society's. Say, would you have done the same? Subscribe for more. The officer's face changed completely. He looked at me, then at her, then back again. He wasn't angry, he was stunned. I think he came in expecting one kind of justice and saw another. That happens sometimes. Law and mercy are cousins, not enemies. If this story touches you, please subscribe. Please share this if you still believe compassion has a place in court. Before she left, I said, "Look at me." She did. I said, "This is your turning point. Do not waste it. Your children need your honesty more than your tears." She nodded so hard I thought her neck might break. "Yes, Your Honor," she said. "Hit like if those words matter. Subscribe for more." Sometimes mercy speaks softly, but it asks a lot. When court ended, I sat there a little longer than usual. The room had emptied, but the feeling had not. I asked myself whether I had been wise or simply emotional. That question matters. A judge must always ask it. Share this. Please subscribe. Good decisions survive self-doubt. Weak ones collapse under it. Walking to my car that evening, I could still hear the child's question, "Is Mommy coming back?" I couldn't shake it. I said a quiet prayer. I asked God to help that family and to keep me honest in my duty. My father's voice echoed again in my mind. Say, do you believe prayer helps with hard choices? Subscribe for more. Hit like right now. At home, I told my wife about the case. She listened the way she always does, with patience and wisdom. When I finished, she said, "Did you hold her accountable?" I said yes. Then she asked, "Did you leave room for hope?" I said yes again. She smiled. "Please subscribe." That smile gave me peace. Please share. A few weeks later, I learned she had completed the pantry service. Not only that, she kept volunteering after her hours were done. She found part-time work through one of the programs. It wasn't easy. Nothing changed overnight. But it was movement in the right direction. Subscribe for more. Redemption rarely arrives with fireworks. Usually it comes one honest day at a time. Hit like now. I also heard she brought her children to the pantry once, not for food, but to donate canned goods after her first steady paycheck. When I heard that, I sat very still. That was the moment I knew the ruling had reached where it needed to go. Say, does that restore your faith too? Please subscribe if it does. Please share this with someone who needs hope. Would I make the same decision again? Yes, I would. Not because theft is small. It is not. Not because motherhood erases wrongdoing. It does not. I would make it again because the purpose of justice is not revenge. It is order, truth, accountability, and whenever possible, repair. Hit like, subscribe for more. That is what I believe. You know what bothers me most about modern life? Too many people confuse toughness with wisdom. They think kindness is weakness. They think mercy means you don't care about right and wrong. I disagree. Deep mercy requires deep courage. It asks you to see clearly and still choose humanity. Please subscribe. Please share. Say, is mercy harder than anger? Arrogance is fear in a fancy suit. I've said that before and I mean it, but this woman did not come wearing arrogance. She came wearing panic. There's a difference. Everyone deserves respect and everyone owes it. She gave respect when truth finally opened her up. Subscribe for more. That helped guide me too. Hit like if respect still matters in your world. Here in Providence, I've seen wealth without decency and poverty with grace. I've seen polished shoes on cruel people and worn-out sneakers on saints. So I do my best not to judge too fast. The robe gives authority. It does not grant X-ray vision. Share this. Please subscribe. Every case deserves a human look. If you're struggling tonight, hear me clearly. Ask for help before shame talks you into a terrible choice. Knock on one more door. Make one more call. Tell the truth sooner, not later. There is no disgrace in need. The disgrace is letting pride endanger your children or your soul. Comment below if someone needs this message. Subscribe for more. Hit like now. And if you are doing okay, remember your duty to others. A pantry donation matters. A kind word matters. A ride to the store matters. A small act at the right moment can keep a family from falling off a cliff. My father knew that. My mother lived that. Please subscribe. Please share. We belong to each other more than we admit. In my 40 years on the bench, I've learned this simple truth. Most people do not need to be crushed. They need to be seen, told the truth, and shown a path back. Not everyone takes that path, some do. When they do, it is beautiful. Subscribe for more. Say, should courts build more paths to repair? Hit like. So that was my verdict in the case of the crying single mother who stole food for her kids. I held her accountable. I helped her stand back up. And yes, my decision shocked the police officer, but in the end, it did something better than shock. It gave a family a chance. Please subscribe. Please share. Good luck to you, and God bless.